to the Lone Pine Real Estate Company podcast and radio show, creating solutions to navigating tricky real estate waters. I'm your host, Rachael, broker and owner of Lone Pine Real Estate Company here in Midcoast, Maine. Real estate isn't always smooth sailing. Whether you're buying, selling, investing, or just trying to figure out your next step, the path can feel overwhelming. That's why this podcast exists, to bring clarity, confidence, and creative solutions to the complex world of real estate. And fun. We all want fun. Each episode will dive into real stories, practical solutions, and expert insight to help you make smart decisions and avoid common pitfalls, all while staying grounded in what matters most: your goals, your future, and your peace of mind. Please note this podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, financial, or real estate advice. Listening to this episode does not create a client-agent relationship. Always consult with a licensed professional about your specific situation. So grab your coffee and join me under the pine. Together we'll chart the course. Welcome to the Lone Pine Real Estate Company radio show and podcast. Today we're meeting with Bridget Gifford, who's a program manager with Efficiency Maine. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're very excited to hear about Efficiency Maine, which is the umbrella, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, where all of the rebates for energy for residents and also commercial, but you focus on residential, the residential rebate incentives, and we're going to talk about those today, correct?
Yep, that's right. So Efficiency Maine administers all of the efficiency rebates for the state of Maine. So come to us. This is where you're going to find them. No need to look at your utility, your natural gas utility or your electric utility. Just come to efficiencymaine.com, or we've got a call center in Brunswick that is really helpful. That's 866-376-2463.
So we'll go through the rebates. And so you're saying, and I'm not sure when this will air, but you're saying that typically on your sheets you have federal rebates listed as well, but those are going away, but you'll still have your state rebates, correct?
That's correct. So Efficiency Maine has rebates available to Mainers who want to do efficiency projects. And as soon as that efficiency project is done, there's a check that's written and sent right to you or to your installer if you'd prefer it to go that way. And the heat pump water heater is discounted right at the point of purchase at the store. So those are much more immediate than the federal tax credits that are taken as credits on your taxes when you file.
Okay, that makes sense. So to clarify, and we'll go through the process of how this works in the end as well, but to clarify, these rebates follow an address. So my address is 123 Main Street.
That's right.
Maine.
Yep.
It's not really that, but then if I get these rebates, they stay with the house.
That's right.
And then that house maximizes the rebates.
Correct. So that house would be eligible for all of the heat pump rebate eligibility, all of the insulation rebate eligibility, and the water heater eligibility is actually per year. So you can
get as many as
you want year over year. And if you own 10 homes, each of those addresses is also eligible. So it's the rebate is with the address and not with the homeowner.
Okay, great. So let's dive into the different rebates. So let's talk about water heaters, because they're a simple one. So tell us about that.
Yep. And the payback on those is very fast. And so that's usually sort of our gateway measure. We say, if you're going to do nothing else, do your water heating. Those are discounted right at the point of purchase. And we have a promotion running through Halloween. So the end of this month. I'm not sure when this will air, but hopefully soon. So that's going to be $1,100 off the cost of a water heater.
Do you know what they typically run for cost?
I don't know exactly right now, but I think the at the end of the day, you're going to pay around $400 with that incentive already in place. So what Efficiency Maine is trying to do is make it a no-brainer. When you go, because your water heater failed, you're going to go purchase one very quickly. And when you're standing there and you're looking at all the pricing, we don't want you to reach for that inefficient electric resistance.
And what is the benefit other than the rebate for using a heat pump water heater?
So it's going to save hundreds over the lifetime of that unit in electricity cost. And it's a larger tank typically. It's 50 gallon, not 40 gallon.
Okay.
So it's going to save you a lot of money. Typically those are installed in the basement spaces, and they also dehumidify as a nice benefit byproduct.
Which is great. So if you go look, if I go into a lot of basements because I sell houses. I didn't introduce myself, but everyone knows who's watching this. But if you look at if you go into a house and it has a standard water heater, it will say how much it costs to heat the water a year, an average or something, and you'll see like $615, $523. When you see the heat pump water heaters, it's significantly lower, maybe $145 or $115.
Exactly.
So that's that you save by getting it. You get that rebate, but then you save overall, like you said.
Exactly. Every year, every time it kicks on, you're saving money. On our website at efficiencymaine.com, we've got lots of different calculators. One of them is the cost of water heating. And if maybe you don't have an electric resistance, you're heating your water some other way. Maybe it's off of your boiler system that you're heating your water. And you can just go in there and play around with your own consumption and see what the benefits might be for you.
I heat my water off my boiler, but I think about this, but then I don't do it. It would be more efficient for me to not heat my water off my boiler in the summer.
Absolutely.
And have it be routed through a heat pump water heater.
Exactly. It's very inefficient in the summer months. Your boiler's kicking on pretty regularly just to heat your water. Exactly.
Yes. Very good. So let's talk about heat pumps.
Great. So our heat pump rebates are higher for low-income homes and also very high for moderate income. And then we've got rebates for everyone else. So anyone who wants to make their home more energy efficient and use heat pumps for their primary heating all winter long would be eligible for our heat pump rebates. So at least 80% of their heat load would need to be satisfied by the heat pump system, and maybe that's more than one heat pump. But we have rebates available for everyone at $1,000 per heat pump. For moderate income Mainers, that would be $2,000 per heat pump. And then for low income Mainers, that's $3,000 per heat pump. So really generous rebates on heat pumps. And as you know, they not only heat at very cold temperatures, they provide air conditioning in the summer, which is a big benefit. There's just a fan mode if you just want to use your fans in the shoulder season. And they have an air filtration component. So it's just a really great choice.
And they dehumidify too.
And they can dehumidify as well. Yep.
Okay. And so the 1,000, just to clarify, the 1,000 per unit for everyone, that's a unit with a condenser.
Yep. So that's, we're talking about the interior unit and the exterior unit. So that heat pump system.
And we talked about this earlier, but not recorded. We installed one that had one condenser with 3 splits. So that rebate would be for that. It doesn't actually qualify if it has splits, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So it's a 1-to-1 system that would be rebate eligible. There is a federal tax credit in place right now to the end of the calendar year where sort of any heat pump system would be eligible under that federal tax credit. There's a list of 25C federal tax credit eligible heat pumps, and it's a larger list than what is eligible with the Efficiency Maine rebate. But if you're interested in heat pumps, there's a lot available to you.
And then what someone would do is go to your website, put in heat pumps, find out who is an eligible installer,
So we have a database on our website, and you can go to the services line and select. There's a drop down there of all the different, um, specialties and efficiency upgrades, and select what you're interested in. In this case, you want to select heat pumps, and then the next line over would be your zip code. Pop that in and search. It will populate everyone in your area that does heat pump installations. It's important that you use someone on our list. They've gotten all of their minimum qualifications and their insurances, as they've all been vetted in some capacity. And our database will sort of populate that list to you by those companies on top have done the most rebates for Efficiency Maine. So they're sort of ranked in that order.
So I go in, I'm going, okay, just to recap, my house has never had heat pumps. So just by that, I know that my house qualifies.
Correct.
Because everyone qualifies to some degree.
Yeah.
So I'm going in, I'm finding my installer, type in, find my installer. They come, they install the heat pumps. I pay them, and then I mail in to get my rebate. Is that how it works?
So there's a claim form, and on the claim form, there's a lot of information that your installer is going to pop in there. They're going to do their sizing calculation and put the model numbers and things like that. You are going to sign and initial that you will use the heat pumps as your primary system. And then there's also a selection. Do I want the rebate to come to me at my home, or do I want to assign the rebate to go to my installer?
Okay.
And then your installer will just take that off of your invoice. So that's sort of a decision between the two of you.
Okay, great. Very good. There's another one that I think is amazing, and I hadn't really thought about it, but people who are very aggressively want to live off the land, or just put in their own sweat equity to heating their house, which would be through a wood boiler or like a pellet
boiler
or furnace. So there's rebates for that.
So there's a federal tax credit, 30% up to $2,000. Similarly, on the heat pump side, that federal tax credit is 30% up to $2,000. And the Efficiency Maine rebate for those folks that want to do a wood boiler or a pellet boiler, there's a $6,000 rebate for that.
Which is amazing. And this is not a wood stove or a pellet stove. It is a wood boiler or a pellet boiler or furnace.
Exactly. Yeah. So typically that is going to be installed in your basement, right? And you're going to feed that hopper throughout the heating season. Yep.
Very good. And so that's 6,000 across the board, which
is
amazing.
Right. Yep.
And then there is a geothermal, which is a very complicated system, but still a good rebate.
Absolutely. So a geothermal heat pump is super efficient. The initial installation costs tend to be quite high, but the rebate is generous. The rebate through Efficiency Maine is $3,000 on that. There is a federal tax credit until the end of the year on 30% of that system, and there isn't a cap. So whatever 30% of your geothermal heat pump installation is going to be, you can enjoy a federal tax credit for that. And then certainly the Efficiency Maine $3,000 rebate, which is more immediate.
Right. That's amazing. Okay. So same thing applies to how you have it installed as the heat pumps. You have to you go on your website, get someone who's approved by you.
Yep. Right on that same database I talked about and that selection of drop down. You're gonna choose those installers.
Great. So then this is one that I love because we have an old house population in Maine, and a lot of times in under insulated houses are not as efficient as they could be, and a big part of that efficiency is insulation.
Absolutely.
So the insulation rebate is also across the board, but it varies according to income.
Exactly. So our insulation rebates are super generous, and they take into account the income of the homeowner, if they're low or moderate or not, and it would be more generous for those low income homeowners. But our insulation rebates tend to be really popular at this time of year, right? Everyone's thinking about the cold weather setting in, and we structured those rebates as a percent of the project cost. So whatever your installer is going to assess your home needs, whether that's basement insulation and attic insulation, maybe some wall insulation, whatever that total project is going to be, the rebate is going to be a percent of that. So most Mainers fall into the bucket of the 40% rebate. So if my insulation project is quoted at $10,000, I would enjoy a $4,000 rebate through Efficiency Maine. So
that's the cap, right?
That's the most, exactly.
Right. So if it's 20,000, you're still only getting 4,000.
You're going to cap out at 4.
But if it's 5,000,
it'll be 40% of the 5,000.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yep.
Okay, great.
So there is also, until the end of the year, a federal tax credit for that work as well. It's $1,200. But it's just good to know these things can be stacked. When you're thinking about your total cost to you, you've got the rebate and then you've got this tax credit that comes a little later, but still is going to help offset what's coming out of your pocket.
Very good. And then we move on to vehicles. So
we have a generous Efficiency Maine rebate for electric vehicles, and that is for moderate income Mainers and low income Mainers only.
Okay. And then do you have, I see off-peak chargers.
Yeah, part of that electric vehicle purchase is the mandatory off-peak charger. So that would also need to be purchased and eventually installed. And
I don't understand what that means because I'm assuming it's off-peak electricity hours.
Exactly.
Okay.
So most people who drive electric vehicles charge their vehicles at home. And off-peak means when most of Maine is not drawing electricity on the grid. So these chargers will charge your car overnight, but not in those peak times when everyone just got home from work and is throwing on their stoves or AC or all of their electrical appliances. It'll shift a little bit so that when at 9 p.m. when folks, or 10 p.m. when folks aren't really using their electricity as much, that's when your car will charge. So the overnight hours, essentially.
And is that separate from your normal charger?
Yeah, your normal charger will just charge when it's plugged in.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. Very good. And then there is a clothes washer rebate for everyone.
There's a clothes washer rebate for anyone who is in the market for a clothes washer, as long as it's Energy Star. There's a $50 rebate from Efficiency Maine. So save those receipts. And the form is very simple. It's on our website, and you just fill that out, attach your receipt, and you'll get a $50 check in the mail.
Okay, great. And then ECM circular pump.
Yeah, so the ECM circulator pump, that's just a widget that lives in the boiler and would help make things a bit more energy efficient. So we've got those at the distributor. It's not really something that's available to homeowners. But
is it available to like plumbers or whoever?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're hoping that the folks that are working on your home are choosing the most efficient equipment possible. So that's what that rebate's all about. And then we get a lot of questions about solar installations. Efficiency Maine doesn't have rebates for solar, but the federal tax credit is generous. That's 30% of the project.
And that's going away though, right?
And that's going away at the end of the calendar year. So there's a lot of interest in getting some solar projects done.
And then you also have, which we won't go over, if someone owns a business, there are a lot of these that also apply. Or if someone owns multi-unit, like 3-unit or above.
Exactly. So Efficiency Maine has rebates for every facility type in the state of Maine, right? We want to make every facility energy efficient. So what I outlined today was really those residential rebates. Those are for homeowners or for single family homes or condos, even 2 units. There are rebates available for all of the same sorts of things, for multifamily and for small businesses and for large businesses. And on our website at efficiencymaine.com, there's a lot of information there about those different facility types. And sometimes there's promotions for small business or for multi-families that are more generous than at other times of the year.
Very good. Thank you so much for coming
Yes,
and
my pleasure.
sharing all of this great information. Just to recap, these rebates follow an address except for the heat pump water heater that you can do every year, but the
That's
rest
right.
of them an address can cap out, and the rest of them you have to go to Efficiency Maine and have a person that's approved by them install it.
That's right.
But
so yeah, the heat pump water heater, if you're handy, you can do that all by yourself. Bring up YouTube and get to work. But for all of the other things I talked about today, that database on our website is really important. You've got to use a contractor that's listed, partnered with Efficiency Maine. If you don't want to use the website or having trouble navigating, we do have a call center in Brunswick that is staffed through the week, and they're just waiting to answer questions and to help you navigate stuff. So that number, one more time, is 866-376-2463.
thank you so much. This is
Thank
amazing.
you.
And this is the only place for the state of Maine that you find rebates.
That's
Just
right.
to say that. Okay, great. Thanks, Bridget.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.